Now, in this sport, we've seen all these trailers, we reacted to them, we kind of like set back what was told at that time, what I thought at that time and whatnot. And the next one we're going to do is dive into the developer. What we're going to do is dive within those developer directs, so developer insiders, whatever they want to call them. They give us more information, and I want to be able to dissect that a little bit more. So join me on the next one as we continue our coverage of Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. So it's a preview we're doing.
Unique.
Hello, beautiful.
We wanted to challenge ourselves. We wanted to expand and really push ourselves in terms of making something new and fresh.
Light him up.
When first introduced, the free-flow combat of Batman Arkham Asylum broke new ground and set a standard that is still popular today. In that spirit, the Rocksteady team decided to delve into new mechanics.
If you're playing solo, you have the power to make combat in our game unique to you while making your way through our story campaign. If you decide to play co-op with friends, you can each become an expert with your playstyle and customize builds, creating a powerful squad unlike any other.
Each person can offer a different benefit to the play experience.
We're super excited to see those sort of team play synergistic effects happen.
You want a high five?
Up high.
In the Suicide Squad, the world, the narrative, all our features evolve through the lens of DC lore.
Fans for the DC Universe are going to be really excited for this. Not only are we bringing characters back that we've used in the Arkham series, but we're introducing new ones.
You can call me Colonel Rick Flag.
We want players to feel like they explored the DC Universe with us, not just through the story, but also through the mechanics.
Ah, no lasso? You gotta be kidding me.
In this episode, we'll meet some of the iconic DC characters who will be helping our anti-heroes to take on their impossible mission.
Awesome.
Through conversations with our team, our voice cast, and our playtesters, along with extended gameplay, we'll give you a preview of some of the amazing new possibilities we're excited about with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Wait, which superheroes did you say you were again?
This is Suicide Squad Insider, Episode 2.
The RPG systems are the connective tissue inside of the game. Things like weapon customization, talent customization, things that really let players get into how they want their character to play.
Now, let's begin.
We built this game with near limitless strategic and personal options.
I gotta be honest with you, like right now, the biggest vibe that I got from this game is Borderlands. Have you seen that upgrade tree? It's exactly 200% Borderlands. I can't make that up. So let's just take a quick look at that. This is, to me, it really reminds me of the Borderlands one, right? You have like your little thing in the front on top. That's probably like at the top right. That's probably like a passive that you have from this character, and then you see here, you know, like you see the basically the tier of it. I don't know. Hopefully, it goes from bottom to top, so we don't feel like it's exactly like Borderlands, because they do the top to bottom that not a whole lot of games do. And you know, looking at it closely, looking like the gear and the guns and the customization, I mean, it kind of reminds me of it. The one thing is that no, you don't really customize your guns in Borderlands. Your guns are customized for you, you know, in advance, and you just pick them up. They all have like various things on it. I don't have to tell you how this game works. You already know. But yeah, I mean, when I hear things like that, they're conscious of what they've done with the Batman Arkham franchise, and to see that they're telling, yeah, we totally changed the game when we made this, and that's what we want to do here. We want to change the game again. I like hearing that. Just want to see it.
Each person can offer a different benefit to the play experience.
We're super excited to see those sort of team play synergistic effects happen.
You want a high five?
Up high.
In the Suicide Squad, the world, the narrative, all our features evolve through the lens of DC lore.
Fans for the DC Universe are going to be really excited for this. Not only are we bringing characters back that we've used in the Arkham series, but we're introducing new ones.
You can call me Colonel Rick Flag.
We want players to feel like they explored the DC Universe with us, not just through the story, but also through the mechanics.
Ah, no lasso? You gotta be kidding me.
In this episode, we'll meet some of the iconic DC characters who will be helping our anti-heroes to take on their impossible mission.
Through conversations with our team, our voice cast, and our playtesters, along with extended gameplay, we'll give you a preview of some of the amazing new possibilities we're excited about with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Wait, which superheroes did you say you were again?
This is Suicide Squad Insider, Episode 2.
The RPG systems are the connective tissue inside of the game. Things like weapon customization, talent customization, things that really let players get into how they want their character to play.
Now, let's begin.
We built this game with near limitless strategic and personal options.
Players craft their own character within a character. Everyone can pick not only their favorite, but really make a character that's their own.
There's really high skill ceiling mechanics in this game where as you learn to traverse, as you learn to combine your character's abilities more and more, you become better, your character becomes stronger, and in the story of the game, you're taking on stronger and stronger threats.
We have this perspective of always tying back to the narrative and always giving context around the mechanics. With the DC world out there, it just gave us unlimited potential.
With the Arkham games, you could modify some elements of Batman himself. We knew early on, going with an action shooter was an opportunity to go down a new path and try out new mechanics with a new type of game.
I do like that they're calling it an action shooter, not a third-person shooter or anything like that. So big emphasis there. The one thing that I mean, it still seems like to me like they're still hitting that soft spot for me. That makes me the reason why I love Rocksteady so much is the way they build worlds and the way that everything is tied up to a story, and they tell you exactly that. We've seen it in the previous developer Insider. They were actually showing us the traversal, right? How every one of the squad members actually got their traversal gear, and that's cool that there's a story reason behind everything. So that means that the story is at the forefront, which is, you know, something that's important to me when I play a game. I like knowing what I'm doing, the motivations and whatnot. I'm a story guy. What can I say? So it seems like that's something that is part of the game philosophy, which is pretty cool.
Someone's been busy. How'd you have time to make all this?
In our last episode, we showed the Suicide Squad recruiting the Penguin for Argus.
Okay, Waller. We bagged Penguin.
He goes back to the Hall of Justice to start helping the squad out.
I'm taking authority.
Since we last showed you the Justice League's HQ, it's had a makeover from Amanda Waller and her team, and it's now the forward operating base for Argus's fight against Brainiac.
So when considering gameplay, we knew we needed an arms dealer.
You need a good gun runner.
For us, it's been great to bring Penguin back from the Arkham days. We love working with this character.
What he gives you is lots of options for upgrading individual weapons, crafting.
It feels like you're actually interacting with Penguin when you're crafting these items, and that's really where Penguin as a character comes to life in the game.
You get to build them up, creating some really unique combinations, and you can play the game in a way that's unique to you. We have weapons based on different manufacturers.
Star Labs, we have Amertech, we have LexCorp, we have DCPD, and they all come with different flavors.
Okay, that's so Borderlands. It's like exactly the same. Yeah, the manufacturer like Jacob and like whatever, you know what I mean? They always had like these different manufacturers that have like different guns, like, you know. Hey, that's another point in common. Interesting.
Lex is a very scientific man, right? The guns are very scientific in nature. They have very specific recoil patterns and spread patterns, almost like they are calculated. Then we have Amertech, which is more improvised weaponry, really fast fire rates, high ammo capacity, but it kicks like a donkey.
And once you've unlocked those manufacturers, you can go to Penguin and ask him to sort of craft specific weapons in those manufacturers.
Different guns will play with different styles. Maybe you've got a Deadshot focused on critical hits, on headshots. That might mean that you want to favor a legendary gun which works with that playstyle.
Nice, nice, nice.
I love when people do that. Like, oh, please explain to me how video game works, because I don't know how they work. Do you mean that if I equip different kind of gear, that's going to change my gameplay, and that it doing so can actually tailor the gameplay to my desires? Oh my gosh. That was like a very new feature. Never heard of that anywhere in a game before. Oh my god. It's I just love when people do that. I just love when they do that. Just explain to me how games work. Thank you.
Penguin is only one member of what we call the support squad.
Toot toot, scumbags!
There are various supervillains that the squad have begged, stolen, or borrowed from.
For players who just want to play through the story, they'll get the full arsenal to be able to take on the Justice League. But for players who really want to sort of maximize their characters, the support squad missions unlock really cool features.
Our designers have put a lot of effort into making sure that when you play the game, you can have a very different experience from someone else.
Let's meet the rest of the support squad. Here we can see the scientist Gizmo, who has set up shop in the basement of the Hall of Justice.
You're perfect.
We know.
His primary contribution to the squad is the sort of airdropped vehicles that you can use for combat.
You're getting into this flying vehicle with rockets and a turret and sort of blow shit up. And the havoc you can create is outstanding.
Each character from the DC universe offers the player a different way of interacting with the game.
I've been trying on the name Toyman.
More like Annoy Man. Am I right?
Toyman is one character that helps you actually figure out ways of defeating the Justice League.
He's a tech boy genius who wants nothing more than to help save Metropolis. He can't quite come to terms with the fact that his heroes are now the villains.
Changing stuff is my middle name.
You can unlock more and more things you can do with Toyman to enhance your gear.
If you want to really perfect your gear to really suit how you like to play the game, Toyman's the character to talk to.
I'm Hack.
Hack is this sort of electronic astral projection.
Anything that has electricity, Hack can manifest through.
By working with Hack and increasing your talent points over the course of the game, you can unlock a whole myriad of...
Guys, you tell me exactly what that looks like. Don't tell me that doesn't look like a talent tree or skill tree from Borderlands. Is it possible that they got some Borderlands developers to jump on this game? Is it possible? So some people left 2K?
different abilities.
For example, with Harley, you can increase her grenade damage.
Thank you!
Alongside the talent tree, we have what we call the combat combo system. As you're doing these more intricate moves, you build up your combo faster, and the higher that combo is, the more talents you activate.
Ah, this tough love!
Hack also uses her abilities to literally hack Brainiac's comms, so you get to listen in on what the Justice League is talking about, and you also get to hear their sort of corrupted personalities and how different they are from the heroes you once knew.
We have complete control, Brainiac.
Now let's talk about one more member of our support squad. Another hack Brainiac's comms, so you get to listen in on what
the game, you can unlock a whole myriad of different abilities.
For example, with Harley, you can increase her grenade damage.
Thank you!
Alongside the talent tree, we have...
I love that, hey, you can increase grenade damage. Oh, cool. I don't know in which game can I do that? Is there another game where I can increase my grenade damage, or increase my gun damage, or increase my melee damage, or increase my... I know I'm very, very like about this, but there's a reason for it, and you know it.
The combat combo system. As you're doing these more intricate moves, you build up your combo faster, and the higher that combo is, the more talents you activate.
So I wanted to come back to that combo system because I'm not sure if I'm understanding this right. So it's only through using or having a high combo that then your abilities become available. And if you look at the screen, it seems like at this moment, like you have two available. So I could see that there's a L1, R1, there's a square X thing going on. If that's the way that the powers activate, that's new. I don't think I've seen that in a game before. I mean, right? If you do your combo, then your super moves are actually or unlocked at that point. Which, okay, at least that seems very different, right? I don't think I've seen a game that was doing that where your power moves are locked behind combos. That could be interesting.
Combat in this game revolves around 3 core pillars: traversal, gunplay, and melee. Someone like Deadshot can take a vantage point and provide cover fire. You can find wild ways to upgrade your melee attacks. With the Great Suspender, a single boomerang can launch several enemies off the ground.
A job worth doing right.
Harley's gun is from the Bane's Rage set. Landing a critical hit spawns a power-up that can infuse other weapons like grenades with Bane's Rage, making them more powerful.
Get the invaders off Daphne! Quickly! Those aliens pollute everything!
King Shark's loadout here includes Black Mask's Bulletstorm and the Heatwave's Molten Shield to synergize. He has triggered the Bulletstorm effect, which means that he's now immune from damage thanks to the Heatwave's Molten Shield, making this a perfect opportunity to get in close.
Savor it.
This mission is where we introduce Afflictions, elemental attacks from Ivy's plants that draw on the powers of different DC villains. Use an Affliction to freeze your enemies before you deliver an explosive finale.
So I'm going to be all the way real with you. There's really parts of it that I'm like, man, this could be fun. And then there's other parts of it where I'm like, this could be a mess. I don't know. There's a lot of things going on at once. There's a whole lot of different gameplay elements being introduced at once and all these things. I think that it might be a game that's very difficult to discern exactly what it'll be before we actually get it, because it's not like, I don't know, it's not like something like Redfall where I was like, oh, well, that sounds like a bad idea from the start. And then, you know, them not showing anything that was pertaining to like the co-op or how that was actually really going to work. You didn't see a lot of synergy between like the different abilities. And this one, they're showing you the synergy between the abilities. They're showing you how different playstyles could affect gameplay and how everybody could take, like, you know, every different person could take one that they really like and explore that. And so there's potential. The problem really is, for me, is that the whole setting seems so meh. The enemies are so meh. I don't feel like the enemies are doing anything. And that's probably because, maybe because the people playing it for us in that gameplay reveal, that gameplay demonstration right now, they might be super pros at this, right? They might be so good at it, they never take a hit from the enemy. So the enemies just look like they're just cannon fodder. And that's why they're doing all these moves, and it seems chaotic to us because we don't know how to do any of these moves, and they've practiced, and that could be just that. Or it could also be exactly what you're seeing, that the enemies are just cannon fodder and they're not much. It really reminds me of Prototype, but not for the good reasons.
Task Force X, report. Have you secured Ivy?
Yeah, kind of a funny story.
Although she doesn't remember her old life, Ivy is still a deadly expert with toxins, and she can offer your builds an interesting new feature, Afflictions.
The results are so neat.
When you manage to recruit her, she comes back to the Hall of Justice as kind of like a loose cannon, precocious toddler who also has terrifying genetic engineering powers.
Then we introduce the concept of afflictions. Players can apply these afflictions to their melee weapons, their grenades, so they can mix and match different things for the encounter.
And each affliction ties back to a DC character.
So for the people who are not keeping count here, here's a lot of things that you're being introduced through the traversal powers, because it seems like there's just more than one way traversal. It seems like it's kind of like a combo chain. So the traversal, then the shooting mechanics, then the how was it called again? The counter shot mechanic, then the suicide hit mechanic, then the combo multiplier ability activating mechanic, and our affliction mechanics, but also your crafting mechanic, your upgrade mechanics. That to me really scream games as a service converted into a action RPG, action shooter, as they call it, an action shooter, an open world action shooter, co-op. It's a lot. It's about a co-op action shooter, open world, an open world co-op action shooter. Here you go. That's just it. I don't know why I had such a hard time with it.
We have 4 Afflictions. Diablo Blaze sets people on fire, burns them over time. But you can't shield harvest them. We have Deep Freeze, freezes people. You can shatter them with your guns, but they are pretty resistant to melee damage. They won't drop ammo when they die.
At any point, you can have up to 2 different elemental afflictions, then add in the 3 other players. So what you've got there is lots of different ways to engage with enemies.
Holy moly. Okay, that's not the end of that. So now if you use Affliction, depending on your Affliction, the characters will not drop certain things. So if you freeze a dude, it's not going to give you any ammo. But if you put a dude on fire, it's not going to do... Whoa, that's a lot of... And for those who haven't also been keeping account, the things I haven't spoke about yet, but it seems like when you do certain moves, you get ammo. So you're able to get your ammo back. When you do certain moves, what they spoke about in the last Insider, that when you, let's say, shoot them through the leg and you cripple them, you can melee them to get more shield back. There's a lot of different things in play right now. A lot of new things.
Your fight is far from over.
So at Rocksteady, what we sort of pride ourselves on is investigating how players play. Do they get the language that we're trying to create? We had an amazing opportunity to get a group of proper gamers from the community involved in the development process pretty early.
Some of the characters, the mission types during the story, I'd definitely say this has got a Rocksteady stamp on it.
The experience of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is really fluid, really smooth, it feels really polished. It's chaos, but in a good way.
It's very fast and very momentum-based, and I think there's a lot of verticality to it.
No other game that makes you feel so free and powerful.
Yes! You also have this deep building of your character with a more superhero twist. For example, I kind of gravitated towards Dead Shark because I'm a big fan of shooting guns and big crit builds. You can use the juggling mechanic to get 100% crit chance, and then from there, do big damage.
The knowledge that we gained, seeing players explore the mechanics, it gave us like a little taste of what it's going to be like when we got like a bigger community to share the game with.
That's what we do these videos for. Happy that I watched this one, because hearing it from playtesters, and once again, grain of salt, Bay, when it comes to playtesters, because let's be honest, when you get to play a game early and without having to pay for it, you tend to be a little bit more forgiving because the barrier of entry was low for you. It was literally the mat was placed and the door was open. It was as easy as that. Now I'm talking to people, to consumers, people are going to go and spend their hard-earned money. And those people may have a different take on what you're doing. But when they say that it's chaotic, but it's a good chaotic, that's great, because that's all I've been saying through this whole process that we'll be doing when it comes to this review is, yeah, it looks freaking chaotic. But that could be a good thing. It could be like something that keeps you interested, something that always gives you something to look forward to. I'm not really sure, but when, you know, they're explaining about the fact that it feels like a power fantasy, it feels like this, it feels like that. It also, to me, what I'm hearing is that it seems like what the developers are setting out to do is connecting with them in those same way. They're using that same kind of lingo, the word. I love that the I think it's the director on a game that said that, you know, we're trying to see if gamers understand the language that we're trying to communicate through the game. And that's very important to me, because I do not understand the language that they're trying to communicate through the game. I know that they're trying to communicate a lot to me, but because you know, you don't start with a tutorial, you just start with what you just saw, and which is pretty much like, you know, deep in the action, a whole lot of stuff going on. It doesn't translate very well. So I think that, you know, hearing that from their point of view, that's always reassuring. But I'm going to pull the wool right now and, you know, speak about the fact that we all know that recently there was a lot of previews that were done, and the people that had their hands on the game were not enamored by it. A lot of people said that it was messy, it was complicated, it was hard for them to actually understand what they had to do. It was hard for them to be able to put all the combos together when it comes to the traversal. That didn't leave a good impression when it comes to the people, but they've also pretty much all mentioned that they were thrown into like missions with a character that's already made, that already had their equipment that they were not familiar with. You know, a lot of times in these events, you get a couple of hours. You don't really get to, you know, really take a look at your gear and choose what you want. And before you can even do that, you have to understand what the language of the game even is. You know, a lot of, and you know, those there's RPG element, and like not necessarily the best RPG element, but you know, part of the RPG core is the stats. We all know that. And you have to understand what it means when people talk about critical hits, when you're talking about certain things. You know, when you play certain games, it means something totally different. It's like when you play the Dark Souls game, armor is calculated very differently than if you play some other games, right? Or was it Demon Souls? I think it was Dark Souls, but whatever. I digress. That is the same kind of thing here. So is it going to be a language that is going to be, oh, okay, once you start from the beginning, okay, you kind of get it. Once you choose your character and you kind of do what you got to do. Obviously, they were able to talk about like, okay, if you want to make a high crit character, this is what you do. This is what you do. So they got the handle on it. But are they your average consumers?
Now listen, how about a team up?
When the studio made the Arkham series, we were very much focused on single character, single perspective. And with this game, we saw that opportunity to get the community more involved.
For us, it was about expanding and enhancing into something new and different. And we wanted this experience to be shared with more than just one person.
One of the coolest experiences in the game is when you're playing with friends and each character can tackle the problems that you're facing together differently.
You are learning how to overcome challenges together.
All these characters are geared up to be able to complement each other.
Because each of them is moving differently, sometimes another character might come in from a direction you don't expect. You can create unintentional cinematic moments with your friends. When you really are in sync with your squad, it's such a special feeling, and I think something I haven't experienced in any other game.
Multiplayer is new for the studio, but it's super exciting because we get to see Rocksteady hallmarks of a story-driven game, but from multiple perspectives, and getting to share that with your friends is pretty unique.
We hope you enjoyed episode 2 of Suicide Squad Insider.
Phew, I need a smoke.
I need more therapy.
In our next episode, we'll take a look at what you can expect from our game after launch.
This is the biggest cinematic experience that Rocksteady has ever created, with more hours of cinematic cutscenes than ever before.
All right, so you just heard it from the man himself. In the next episode, we'll be going through the post-launch releases. Now, this is going to be very important because I've said it before. If they're able to change the landscape, if they're able to expand on the world and actually change those enemies up that seem so basic to me, and maybe they're not, but they seem very basic to me, maybe we got a thing going on. But they'll have to convince a whole lot of people to get there. As always, thank you very much for spending your time with me. This whole thing takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. So thank you very much for sticking with us. Click on like if you would like to see more. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. And see you on the next one.